If you took all of the things on your baby registry list and added them up, how much money would it amount to? Do you have a baby registry filled with items that people in your life have told you you need? Once all of this stuff comes into your house, is your house just going to be filled with baby items for a human being that really mostly just needs to be close to their parents, to feed, to have a safe place to sleep, and to have diapers changed regularly? So if you have been obsessing over your baby registry, getting everything ready for your sprinkle or your baby shower, or just for that time when your baby comes, I have a real treat. I've invited friend, colleague, former client, founder of Empowered Birth Coaching and Registry Rehab on for the next 12 days. Her name is Lisa. She's amazing. She has lots of evidence-based information, and we're going to put our two brains together for 12 days in a row until December 24th to give you amazing information about how to best prepare for your baby and the items that you are combing through for that baby registry. And we hope to help you to recognize that what you need on your baby registry is support. What you need is to set yourself up to reach out to the people who are going to be most helpful to you once you have that baby in your arms. So welcome to the Milk Making Minutes 12 Days of Postpartum Christmas. I'm your host, Lo Nigrosh, IBCLC and Childbirth Educator, on a mission to uncover the barriers that make breastfeeding so difficult. Today, we're going to be talking about something I feel very passionate about, which is things used to heal nipples when they are damaged. And some of the examples of these are things like silverettes, lanolin, nipple balm, gel pads that you wear, and then of course like breast pads in general, just used for like catching the leaking milk. Sometimes people use breast shells to keep their nipples from chafing. So there's lots of things that people buy to help with nipple pain. So before I give my thoughts on this, I would love to know what your experience was with any of these things and what you've come to learn over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your take on this. I guess the route that I will take and hopefully add to the conversation is I think that what I've learned in the work that I'm doing and from personal experience is oftentimes there seems to be an underlying cause. And I think it's really important to get to the bottom of that and making sure that we're not putting a band-aid on something that has a root cause that needs to get handled. And so I think my caution to new parents is before we jump for creams and gels and buy all the things and spend lots of dollars trying to find all different remedies, I think that this is one of those topics where I really like to get an IBC involved so that we can cover bases and make sure that it's not a latch issue, make sure that it's not a positional issue. Whatever it is, I think that checking that off first makes sense before diving into remedies. And then I'm sure we can talk a little bit about remedies and when they make sense.
Yes. So I think you are spot on in that when we are feeling like we need something to treat our nipples, that is the time when you need to call an IBCLC. Because if your nipples have gotten to the point where you're like, I need to put something on them because they hurt, something is wrong. Because although pain and nipple damage during breastfeeding is common, now it is not quote unquote normal. Meaning nipples that are damaged and sore, that is an early sign and indication that the nipple is rubbing on the top palate of the mouth for whatever reason and there's not enough breast tissue going into the back of the mouth for the nipple to avoid rubbing on the hard palate. And if that's happening, something is wrong. It could be positioning, it could be tongue or lip tie, it could be oral motor development, it could be tenseness. We don't know what it is, but that really is not the lanolin is like putting a band-aid on something that needs stitches. Like it's not actually going to help or heal anything. Furthermore, there are studies that show that the application of lanolin to painful or damaged nipples and I'm reading from this study here, in the immediate postpartum period does not significantly decrease nipple pain or improve breastfeeding outcomes when compared with usual care. Um so all of these things that are marketed to us that we think we need, like lanolin, nipple butter, really what you need is support.
Yeah.
You don't need to buy more stuff. Now, silverettes, people do get these. I used silverettes for a bit when I was trying to help my nipples heal, but I had a lactation consultant who had them and lent them to me.
Mm.
So I didn't have to buy a $40
Now
thing that I would
they're up
only.
to like 60, 70.
Wow, okay.
Because I try to tell clients that that one is an investment, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I feel about it is there's a lot of knockoffs out there that aren't 100% sterling, and I don't think that they're going to have the same healing properties. So it's almost kind of like, if you're going to go that route, get the good ones, because there's a lot out there that are just a percentage of silver, and I wonder how could that have the same healing properties. So I
Mm,
agree, that's a great one to get pre-loved, borrowed, pass it around a mom's group. They're easy to sterilize.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. So, and sometimes the silverettes feel a little bit better because they're cold too.
Yeah.
So they just provide that cold sensation, which kind of works the same way as the cooling gel pads.
Yeah.
Now, if you want something like cooling gel pads, those can really provide some relief for engorgement. It can provide some relief if your nipples are hurting. It's not going to heal them, though, if you don't address what is causing the cracked nipples in the first place. And then some other things in this category are breast pads. I find breast pads to be pretty necessary. And people always are wanting to know whether they should use disposable ones or reusable ones. Do you have experience with both of these as a parent?
I was a big leaker, and you don't know if you're going to be a leaker or not, right? So I was like a really big leaker, could not go without a breast pad. So I started with disposables and did not enjoy anything about it. I felt them to be itchy. Also, I didn't anticipate using them as long as I needed them. So very quickly realized, like, this is wasteful. I would prefer something washable. And then I also thought that the reusables were softer, more comfortable, and they're not all created equal. I personally preferred something with more stability that would keep its shape in my bra. Any of the ones that were real flimsy, easily foldable would get all twisted up. I was very active postpartum, so I would have them in my sports bra. They'd be like coming up into my neck. So I have a lot to say about breast pads. They were essential for me. I loved the reusables, and I loved the circular, more sturdy, soft, throw them in the washing machine. I thought that those were great. And that's another thing that you could get pre-loved from friends because they go in the washing machine.
How many reusable ones did you need?
That's a good question. So I I liked having 2 packages of the reusable. I liked the Kindred Bravely ones. They're priced very reasonable in my opinion. They're made really, really well. And I only throw a name brand out there because I find with breastfeeding and feeding products and materials and accessories and supplies that there are some things I wish that I had invested in a good one out of the gate. When it comes to nursing bras, I feel the same way. Like, I wish I had the funds and spent the time researching and went for the good one, especially because I knew that I wanted to have an extended breastfeeding relationship. And the same with the pads. I ended up like having 2 packages of ones that were crappy and cheap that I didn't use because I didn't like them. So I think that those are things where you can kind of like pick and choose, spend the dollars, create the fund for nursing wear and kind of get the good stuff right out of the gate because in the end you'll end up saving money.
Yeah, that's true. I will say that I had the opposite experience. I
Mhm.
really wanted reusable ones to work for me,
Mhm.
but I just did not like them as much.
Sure.
And I'm not somebody who's ever on top of my laundry. And you need to change breast pads very frequently
Yeah.
because if you just allow them to soak with milk and then stay against your body for a long time, that can actually lead to infections. It can
Sure.
lead to thrush. And so we do see higher incidence of breast irritation and infection with reusable pads. Um, but that's only because they just don't get changed as
Yeah.
frequently because who wants to do that much more laundry?
Yeah.
Um, which is interesting because I cloth diapered both of my kids and I was able to stay on top of that, but it's much easier to do things to take, you're wearing the same t-shirt for like 5 days in a row. You're not doing your own laundry.
No.
So
No, and I love this because this is what I love about the unique customized gift registry is listen to these 2 completely opposite experiences. You've got to find what works for you, which is why copying your best friend's registry or downloading a blog post of all the things you need isn't going to cut it because we are individuals.
yeah, exactly. And this is the same for things like diapers. I always tell people, like, don't stock up on a billion diapers because you might get to that brand and your baby leaks every single time,
Mhm.
and it's not the right brand for you. So get a few. And it's the same with reusable diapers, with
Yep.
cloth diapers. You actually don't know which brand. You might think, oh, this one's really cute and I think it's really convenient, but it doesn't work for your baby. They leak in them
Yep.
or, they end up not being as convenient as you thought.
Yeah.
So instead of stocking up on a million, I did not learn this with my first baby, but with my second, I got like one or two of each of the brands I was interested in of cloth diapers, and then I tried them out, and then after I knew, then I went and looked for used ones that somebody was getting rid of. And it's the same with something like breast pads or like, nipple cream or anything like that. I'm not saying don't use nipple cream, just know it's not going to be the cure you think it might be. With nipple pads, get, a couple from a few different places, borrow a few from somebody who has already had a baby. I still have nipple pads left over from when I had breastfeeding kids. And so somebody has them stored away. So try to collect a few and then decide what feels best on my body.
Yeah. And I feel that way about so many things. You don't register for nipple creams because even if you do end up using nipple cream, chances are whatever people get you, you may not like. You may prefer a certain brand. Same with diaper balms, like any of those little things that you can test out, see what works for you and your baby. I'm with you, Lo. I had an issue where bought all these diapers, and then totally bizarre, my child had a reaction to this one particular type. And we finally figured out it was the diaper. As soon as we switched the brand, that went away. So
Wow.
that does happen.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, just use caution with these sorts of things. The one caveat I'll add before we move on is that when you are pumping and you have gotten a proper phalange fitting and you are using the pump in the right settings, the other thing that we often recommend is to lubricate while you're pumping. However, you want it to be a food grade lubricant. So sometimes something like Earth Mama, that's another name brand, it will work. But what we most often recommend is just olive oil or coconut oil. So that's another way you can do that same thing without having to buy an extra product.
Yeah. I like that. I
Our-
like that natural route.
Yeah, that you just already have in your kitchen.
Yes, in the pantry, and
Mhm.
dual purpose. You can use that on baby's bum too to help get meconium off. I love that hack.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. That's it for stuff we buy for our nipples.
All right.
Do you want to save the people in your life money? Do you want to save your own money? Do you want to keep your house as clutter-free as possible? Then sign up for my childbirth education for a great postpartum course. You can find it by going to my website, www.coopinbirthservices.com. Go to courses, select the childbirth ed course. This is the place where you are going to create a plan to feel as prepared as possible in the postpartum period. You're going to decide whether or not you want to get that nipple butter, how to ask for the right types of products that are going to help you heal and feel good in a way that aligns not with my values, but with yours. So let's do this together.